Imagine you're scrolling through your social media feed on a slow Tuesday afternoon. You see it again, that perfectly filtered, sun-drenched photo of a 20-something stepping gracefully off a private jet. They're holding a designer latte that probably costs more than your entire lunch and carrying a pristine leather bag that likely costs more than your first car. It's the private jet and designer bags aesthetic that has completely dominated our screens and our collective imagination lately. But let's be brutally honest for a second, is it all just a carefully constructed lie for the sake of the algorithm? Or are these digital creators actually richer than the traditional movie stars we used to worship from afar? We have all heard the whispers. We've all seen the viral videos claiming that those jets are just rented sets in a warehouse in Los Angeles, and that the luxury bags are merely props from a specialized rental service. While some of that might be true for the smaller creators trying to fake it until they make it, the reality for the top players is actually much more mind-blowing than a simple staged photo shoot could ever be. Here is the shocking truth that most people aren't ready to hear. Some of these elite, Titan-tier influencers like Mr. Beast or the Kardashians are making more money in a single month than a high-powered Ivy League educated CEO of a Fortune 500 company makes in an entire year. Just think about that. While a corporate executive is stressed out in board meetings, a creator is thriving. Today, we are finally pulling back the heavy velvet curtain on what is now known as the influencer industrial complex. This isn't just a few lucky teenagers accidentally getting famous or a passing fad that will disappear next year. It is a massive multi-billion-dollar global industry that has fundamentally rewritten the rules of the world economy. What started as a humble hobby of staying at home and sharing your life with a few online friends has morphed into a sophisticated high-speed machine of data-driven marketing, psychological influence, and massive financial stakes. We are living in a brand new landscape where human attention has become the most valuable currency on the planet, and influencers have become the most efficient miners of that gold. Behind every single "get ready with me" video is a secret world of business. Have you ever truly wondered how a 20-year-old with nothing more than a ring light, a smartphone, and a quirky personality can afford to buy a $10 million mansion in the exclusive hills of Hollywood? It feels like a total glitch in the Matrix, doesn't it? You see them giving grand tours of homes featuring glass-walled infinity pools, private home cinemas, and walk-in closets that are significantly larger than the average person's entire apartment. They aren't specialized surgeons, they aren't elite corporate lawyers, and most of them didn't inherit a cent of family wealth. They simply understood the mechanics of the digital economy much better and much faster than the rest of society did. This massive shift in wealth is totally unprecedented in human history. But wait, because the rabbit hole goes so much deeper than just expensive houses and fancy cars. Before we continue, subscribe now and tell us in the comments where you are watching from now. We want to know how far this reach goes. We are about to explore the parts of this business that stay hidden in the shadows of non-disclosure agreements. We are going to reveal the secret rate cards that the biggest celebrities and digital moguls do not want you to see. These documents show exactly what a brand is willing to pay for a shoutout. The numbers are astronomical and prove that the influencer dream is real and more lucrative than anyone imagined. It's time to see how likes turn into millions of cold hard cash. When we talk about the peak of this mountain, we aren't just talking about people with a lot of followers. We are talking about the Titan tier. Think about names like Mr. Beast, the Kardashians, and Charli D'Amelio. These aren't just individuals anymore. They are multinational corporations disguised as human beings. Take Jimmy Donaldson, better known as Mr. Beast. He isn't just a guy who does crazy challenges in his backyard. He is the CEO of a massive production company that spends millions of dollars on a single video just to give away even more money. It's a cycle of hypergrowth that traditional media can't even touch. Then you have the Kardashian-Jenner clan, who literally pioneered the famous for being famous blueprint and turned it into billion-dollar beauty and shapewear empires. And we can't forget Charli D'Amelio, who turned 15-second dance clips into a household name and a seat at the most exclusive tables in fashion. These titans are the ultimate proof that the ceiling for digital fame is basically non-existent. They have more reach than entire television networks combined, and the craziest part, they don't need a middleman to speak to their audience. They own the platform, the message, and the consumer's attention entirely. But here is the really clever part, the secret sauce that makes the whole thing work so well. Even when they are living in sprawling mansions and flying on private jets, many of these digital moguls work incredibly hard to maintain the relatable millionaire persona. Have you noticed how your favorite influencer still films in their bedroom sometimes, or posts about a bad breakout, or shares a vulnerable story about their mental health? It's the girl next door, or guy you'd grab a coffee with vibe. And let me tell you, it is a highly calculated business strategy. We don't buy things from faceless corporations anymore. We buy things from people we feel like we know personally. This parasocial relationship is the rock-solid foundation of the influencer industrial complex. If you feel like an influencer is your friend, you're going to trust their skincare recommendation or buy their energy drink without a second thought. It's about building an emotional bond that translates directly into brand loyalty. It's genius, really. They are selling a lifestyle that feels attainable even when it's worth millions, keeping you hooked on every single upload because you feel like you're growing alongside them. But don't be fooled. The lighting, the timing, and even the unfiltered moments are often part of a much larger plan. Of course, doing all of this alone would be impossible for any human being. Behind every effortless photo and every spontaneous vlog is a massive, high-powered ghost team. We're talking about a small army of managers, agents, publicists, and specialized video editors who are the real architects behind the global brand. When an influencer says they just decided to film this, there's a high chance a manager already spent 3 weeks negotiating the sponsorship deal for that specific 10-minute video. There are editors who know exactly which frame to cut to keep your dopamine levels high and your eyes glued to the screen for as long as possible. There are agents in high-rise offices in Los Angeles or New York pitching these creators to global brands like they are the next big Hollywood franchise. These people are the invisible hands that turn a person with a ring light into a polished, revenue-generating machine. It's a professional alliance where the face focuses on the content while the engine focuses on the growth, the legalities, and the long-term scalability of the business. You aren't just watching a person, you're watching a production. It's a fascinating, high-stakes game where the barrier to entry is low, but the cost of staying relevant is astronomical. But how do those likes transform into the cold, hard cash needed to maintain a luxury lifestyle? The answer is more complex than a sponsored tag. Let's look at the deals rewriting the rules of the advertising world. So, let's get right into the nitty-gritty of the brand deal breakdown, because this is where the numbers start to look like actual telephone numbers. Have you ever truly stopped to wonder what the price per post is for someone at the very top of their game? We aren't talking about a free pair of leggings or a simple discount code for some detox tea anymore. We are talking about life-changing, buy your parents a mansion kind of money. Rumors in the industry suggest that for a single 15-second TikTok, some creators are pulling in six-figure payments. Yes, you heard that right, $100,000 for just 15 seconds of pointing at a screen, doing a quick transition, or mentioning a brand name. It sounds absolutely bonkers, doesn't it? But when you realize that a single post can reach 20 million people in a matter of hours, the ROI for a brand is actually massive. This is why those secret rate cards are guarded like the crown jewels of the digital age. They show that clout isn't just a buzzword, it's a high-value commodity that global brands are desperate to get their hands on. But the real geniuses in the room, they've already moved way past simple one-time payments. They've discovered the equity secret. And this is where the wealth becomes truly generational. Imagine you're a massive influencer and a new energy drink company approaches you. They offer you $500,000 to be the face of their brand for a year. Most people would jump at that check, right? But the Titan tier influencers, they say no. Instead, they demand a 5 or 10% stake in the entire company. They know that if they use their massive reach to make that brand the next big thing, their shares will eventually be worth 10 or even 100 times what any single check could offer. They aren't just promoters anymore, they are owners. They are betting on themselves. And honestly, it's the ultimate power move in the influencer industrial complex. They've realized that being an employee is fine, but being a shareholder is where the real millions are made. And speaking of power moves, have you noticed how every single creator you follow is suddenly launching their own skincare line, a new makeup collection, or a weekly podcast? This is what we call the product pivot, and it is a total goldmine. The biggest names in the game realized a long time ago that they were making other companies billions of dollars. Why would you sell someone else's mascara when you can create your own, control the ingredients, and keep every single cent of the profit? Whether it's Mr. Beast with his chocolate bars or the Kardashians with basically everything they touch, the goal is to turn the audience into a loyal customer base for their own products. It's a genius way to bypass the middleman and create a business that can live on even if the social media algorithm changes tomorrow or their fame starts to fade. But wait, because the money trail doesn't stop at physical products. There is so much hidden money flowing through this industry that the average person never even catches a glimpse of. We're talking about appearance fees, where an influencer can get paid $20, $30, or even $50,000 just to show up at a club or a store opening for an hour. They don't even have to post about it. Their mere presence creates the hype that brands crave. And then there are the affiliate link empires. You've seen the link in my bio, or the swipe up to shop my favorites 1,000 times. Every time someone clicks that link and buys a rug, a vacuum, or a lip gloss, that influencer gets a small percentage of the sale. When you have 5 million people watching your stories, those small percentages turn into hundreds of thousands of dollars in passive income every single month. It's like having a digital printing press that runs while you sleep. If you're still a bit skeptical about these numbers, you only need to look at the evidence found in leaked media kits. These are the professional resumes that influencers send to brands, and let me tell you, they are eye-opening. They don't just show follower counts, they show deep dive analytics like dwell time, click-through rates, and audience sentiment. These documents prove that brands aren't just throwing money at pretty faces. They are buying access to a highly engaged, trusting community. The clout is real, the business is calculated, and the money is undeniably massive. But as the wealth gap between these creators and their followers continues to grow, things are starting to get a little complicated. The relatable mask is beginning to slip, and the public is starting to push back. We are entering an era of intense scrutiny where every post is analyzed and every luxury purchase is questioned by a crowd that is starting to wonder if they are being played. With all this money flying around and the luxury lifestyles being broadcast on every screen, it was only a matter of time before the honeymoon phase between influencers and their audiences started to hit a major rough patch. You've seen it in every comment section lately, haven't you? The vibe has shifted. On one side, you have the get a real job crowd, the skeptics who look at a 20-year-old digital mogul and see nothing but a person who got lucky with an algorithm. They argue that filming a dance or unboxing a gift isn't work in the traditional sense, and the resentment is palpable. But then, on the other side, you have the die-hard fans who defend their idol's hustle with everything they've got. They see the 14-hour filming days, the mental toll of being on 24/7, and the constant pressure to stay relevant in a world that moves at the speed of a thumb swipe. It's a fascinating cultural divide that's turning social media into a total battleground. This friction is only being fueled by the ongoing transparency debate. For a long time, the influencer industrial complex operated in a bit of a wild west. Creators would mention a product, claim they just happen to love it, and never mention the 5-figure check sitting in their bank account. But those days are coming to a screeching halt. The FTC, our primary antagonist in this narrative, is stepping up its game. There are rumors of a massive crackdown coming for anyone who fails to disclose their ads properly. We aren't just talking about a tiny hidden hashtag anymore. Regulators are demanding clear, undeniable transparency. When an influencer gets caught stealth marketing, the fallout is brutal. The audience feels lied to, and in the digital age, trust is the only currency that actually matters. Once that authentic connection is broken, it's incredibly hard to win back. You've probably seen the apology videos with the gray hoodies and the no makeup looks, right? That's the Ghost Team's damage control in full swing, trying to save a brand that's teetering on the edge of a PR nightmare. And where do people go to talk about all this drama? You guessed it, the T-channels and Reddit. These spaces have become the unofficial watchdogs of the influencer world. They dive deep into the wealth gap, and trust me, they don't hold back. You'll see threads with thousands of comments dissecting the latest $10 million mansion tour. People are starting to ask the hard questions. How can someone claim to be just like us while they are showing off a closet that costs more than a suburban home? The relatable persona that works so well for people like Charli D'Amelio or the Kardashians is starting to show some serious cracks. The public is becoming hyper aware of the professional machinery working behind the scenes to keep the brand looking perfect. When the curtain is pulled back and the audience sees the calculated business strategy underneath a candid selfie, the reaction can be explosive. This brings us to the envy factor, and honestly, it's one of the darkest parts of this whole business. We have to ask ourselves, is seeing this lifestyle every day actually inspiring us, or is it just fueling a cycle of toxic consumerism? We're constantly bombarded with images of private jets, designer bags, and perfect vacations. For a lot of viewers, it doesn't feel like a dream they can achieve. It feels like a reminder of everything they don't have. This creates a weird love-hate relationship with creators. We want to see the luxury because it's entertaining, but we also resent it because it feels so out of reach. It's a psychological tightrope that even giants like Mr. Beast have to walk. If they show off too much, they are out of touch. If they don't show off enough, they aren't successful anymore. It's a high-pressure environment where one wrong post can turn your biggest fans into your harshest critics. The gap between the relatable millionaire and the person watching from their bedroom is becoming a canyon, and the tension is reaching a breaking point. So, with all this tension simmering just beneath the surface and the massive wealth gap we've been talking about, you have to wonder, is the influencer economy actually sustainable? Some experts are starting to whisper about a bubble burst theory. Think about it. Every time you open an app, you're bombarded with 3 ads before you even see your best friend's photo. We are hitting a wall of extreme ad fatigue. Users are getting smarter, more cynical, and quite frankly, they're getting bored of the same scripted sponsors popping up in their feeds every single day. When the audience stops clicking because they feel like they're being constantly sold to, the brands stop paying. And when those brands stop paying, well, that $10 million mansion starts looking like a very expensive liability. Is the digital gold rush finally over? Some say the market is so saturated that it's almost impossible for new creators to break through, while the old titans are struggling to keep their engagement from plummeting. It's a high-stakes game of musical chairs, and the music is starting to slow down. And just when you thought the competition couldn't get any fiercer, a new player enters the chat: virtual creators. This is where things get really sci-fi and honestly, a little bit creepy. Why would a brand pay a human millions of dollars, deal with their unpredictable moods, and wait for them to film when they can just hire an AI? These virtual influencers don't get tired, they don't age, and they definitely don't have controversial tweets from 2012 that could get them canceled. They are the ultimate safe brand ambassadors. For human influencers, this is a massive existential threat. How can you compete with a digital avatar that is literally programmed to be perfect and can be in 10 places at once? It's not just a rumor anymore. These AI-driven accounts are already pulling in huge sponsorships from top-tier fashion brands. If you're a 20-year-old digital mogul today, you're not just racing against other humans, you're racing against an algorithm that might actually do your job better than you ever could. Because of this looming threat and the fear of the bubble bursting, many of our favorite creators are desperately working on their exit strategy. You've noticed it, haven't you? The sudden pivot from TikTok dances to high-level tech investing, or trying to land a role in a traditional Hollywood movie. They know that their relevance has an expiration date. In the influencer world, you are considered old by the time you're 25. To survive, they have to turn their temporary fame into permanent wealth and legacy. This is why you see the Kardashians launching private equity firms and people like Charli D'Amelio branching out into mainstream TV and music. They are trying to build foundations that don't rely on a like button or a viral sound. It's a frantic race to diversify their portfolios before the next big platform update makes their current style of content obsolete. They aren't just creators anymore. They are trying to become the next generation of venture capitalists, and their ghost teams are working overtime to make that transition look seamless. But what if the brands go away entirely? That brings us to the next big shift in the industry, the move towards subscription models. We are seeing a massive migration to platforms like Patreon or even OnlyFans, and no, it's not just for adult content. It's about exclusive access that brands can't touch or control. By cutting out the middleman, influencers are regaining power. Instead of begging a skincare company for a deal, they are asking their most loyal fans to pay $5 or $10 a month for behind-the-scenes looks, direct chats, or early access to videos. This creates a much more stable income stream that isn't at the mercy of the FTC or a changing algorithm. It's all about ownership now. If you own the platform and the connection to your audience, you are virtually untouchable. But the question remains, will fans actually keep paying to see the real version of someone who has spent years perfecting a curated image? The stakes have never been higher, and the shift is just beginning. So here we are, finally reaching the grand finale of our deep dive into the influencer industrial complex. And honestly, the view from the top is both breathtaking and a little bit dizzying, don't you think? We've finally peeled back the layers of a business that most people still think is just about taking pretty pictures and getting free boxes of makeup. But as we've seen, it's so much more than that. It's a massive, multi-layered machine that starts with a simple sponsored tag and ends with full-scale corporate ownership. Think about the journey we've tracked over these 6 parts. We started with the Titan tier creators like Mr. Beast, the Kardashians, and Charli D'Amelio, who have essentially turned their lives into a 24/7 global reality show. We saw how they moved past simple brand deals to demanding equity stakes in companies. They aren't just faces anymore. They are sitting in the boardrooms, acting as savvy CEOs of their own massive conglomerates. It's an evolution that has turned staying at home into a multi-billion-dollar sector that traditional media is desperately trying to catch up with. But as we wrap this up, we have to face the most important question. Is this actually the dream job it claims to be? To the outside world, looking through a high-definition ring light, it looks perfect. You see the $10 million mansions, the private jets, and a life that looks like one long vacation. But when you look at the pressure behind the scenes, it starts to look like a high-pressure nightmare. Imagine being a 20-year-old digital mogul where your entire net worth is tied to whether people still like you tomorrow morning. One wrong word in a live stream or one heavy-handed FTC investigation, and the whole house of cards could come crashing down. You're in a constant race against shifting algorithms and the rise of virtual creators who never sleep and never have scandals. You're managing a ghost team of editors and agents who depend on your fame for their paychecks. It's a relentless grind where the line between your real life and your brand disappears. You never really get to turn it off because if you aren't posting, you're rapidly becoming irrelevant. The final verdict. It's a digital goldmine, absolutely, but it's only for those with the thickest skin and the most calculated business strategies. It's a career path that offers unimaginable wealth and global influence, but it demands your absolute privacy, your mental well-being, and your authentic self in return. We are witnessing the birth of a new kind of power structure where attention is the only currency that actually matters. And as we've seen, that currency is becoming harder and harder to earn as the audience gets smarter, the envy factor grows, and the get a real job critics get louder. So I really want to hear from you guys now. Let's get real in the comments because I know you have thoughts. If you woke up tomorrow with 1 million loyal and engaged followers and a global audience hanging on your every word, what's the first thing you would sell? Would you go for the quick, easy cash of a skincare line? Or would you try to build something that truly lasts, like a tech startup or an exclusive subscription-based community? What's your master plan for the influencer era? Before we sign off, I have to leave you with one final spicy teaser. There is one specific influencer out there whose secret business operations are so massive that they might actually change everything we know about the social media economy. Rumors say they are literally building a private city funded entirely by their digital revenue, but that is a rabbit hole for another day. I'll be exposing the truth in our next video, so you definitely do not want to miss it. It's going to be wild, and honestly, it might be a little bit terrifying for the future of the internet. This business never stops evolving. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you never miss the latest tea on the digital world. Thank you for sticking with us through this series. Until next time, keep scrolling, but keep your eyes open. See you next time.